Evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Covert Planning Commission for November 16th. And Megan, if you would, do a roll call.
Thank you, Commissioner. Present are James Bell, John Marshall, Seth Clark, Marissa Doyle, and William Wood. Absent are Alan Wells and Jonathan Derby. Also present is Council Liaison Nancy Bell. And we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Agenda review. Obviously, we have approval of minutes, public testimony, following that, commission business, city updates, and then hopefully a quick adjournment. Any addition to the changes to the agenda?
No changes or additions. I would just like to remind everyone that we are recording and live streaming. Please try to speak directly into your microphone so that that audio is picked up. Thank you.
Would this be a time for me to suggest the additional item on the agenda for discussing short-term rentals issues? Well, you'll catch me on that one at the end, right? Okay. Okay. Next thing on the agenda will be the approval of minutes for September 21st, 2022. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to take a look at those and see if there's any changes, additions, etc. Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes, moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Wood, you there? Aye.
I'm a hearty aye.
All right, thank you very much. That has been passed. Approval minutes have been approved. Next on agenda is public testimony. Anybody on the list for public testimony tonight?
No one is signed up for public testimony.
Commission business, planning commission reappointments. I think you got some changes there, or at least in the.
Yes, so there was a mistake made at our last meeting, and the folks that I asked to serve, if they would like to serve again, were not who needed to be up for reappointment. So this evening, I will ask Commissioner John Marshall, as well as Commissioner William Wood, if both of you would like to continue to serve on the Planning Commission.
I would.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you both very much.
All right. Is that what has to be follow up on that? Anything?
The reappointments will go to City Council, and the mayor will officially reappoint you for another 2-year term.
Okay, next on the agenda is planning commission elections for chair and vice chair. The current chair is William Wood and vice is,
Our current chair, our previous chair resigned and William Wood was the vice chair. So he is temporarily serving as chair in lieu of the chair who resigned. And so we are up for elections for both positions.
do we have any recommendations for chair?
Alan and Jonathan.
What's that?
Alan and Jonathan, they're not here tonight.
Well, that'd be kind of sneaky. Mr. Wood, Commissioner Wood, would you be in favor of being the chair for the coming year?
I wouldn't mind being the vice chair again, but being the chair, my schedule's pretty sporadic. So I figure the chair is somebody who's here consistently. And I mean, I think it's always fun to do, but if you haven't done it, it's a hoot. And I see two relatively new members who are also very experienced who would be great chairs.
Well, make your recommendation, sir.
Well, does anyone really want to be chair, or is that? I don't want to recommend somebody who doesn't want to be that person, but I am. If you haven't done it, I mean, you might as well take a turn if you're inclined. So.
I'm not sure you can serve as vice chair again.
Oh, good.
I'm a little buzzed. I'm a little confused there. I'm not sure whether or not you can do it consecutively.
Oh.
So
I am.
could use a little help there, Megan. If you're in our bylaws, whether or not you can do that.
No member shall be eligible for more than 2 consecutive terms. William may be vice chair one more time.
Okay. Well, that one's solved. So next is chair.
These positions would begin in January, is that correct?
Positions would begin immediately, I believe.
Like to follow this meeting?
I think so. Yes.
And I'll throw my hat in the ring. I was chair several years ago and really enjoyed it. So I could do it again if need be.
Very well. We have a chairman and vice chair. Do we need to take a vote on this? So I would like to have a vote on having William Wood as our vice chair and Commissioner Bell as our chairman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I heard that very well, Mr. Wood. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, taken care of. Next on the agenda was a review of the bylaws for setting meeting time.
Yes, so the reason that this came up is because recently City Council voted to move their meeting time from 7 to 6 p.m. And so the question came up of whether this group, the Planning Commission, would like to do the same. It is also an educational opportunity to take a look at the bylaws, which if you look at Article 5, Section 1, states that regular meetings of the commission shall be held one evening each month at a consistent location, but it does not define a specific time. So staff just wanted to provide this opportunity to see if this group would prefer to meet earlier.
Megan, can I,
Please, Counselor Bell.
council right now, it is a temporary move because council bylaws do designate the 7 o'clock as our official start time, and those bylaws will not be changed until probably in February, the earliest. So I just want to make you aware that that is a temporary change at this point.
Thank you very much for clarifying.
What was the reason for wanting the change?
Partially it was, or probably primarily it was for staff convenience. Because staff here in Coburg tends to stay in their offices until the meeting time starts. So that can give them, like a 2-hour gap in between, and they usually work during that point, but it makes a really long day for staff. I mean, there are pros and cons to moving a meeting to 6 as opposed to 7 if you're trying to cram dinner in or not cram dinner in. You have to sort of figure that out. But it was the consensus of the council members that we would certainly do that on a temporary basis and then reevaluate.
The only concern I might have would be the public. As far as them being able to give them sufficient time to make sure they can attend. And that's the important thing is sure it's very easily done. I guess not that I'll follow suit or suggest that we follow suit with the city council, but we should probably consider it. See what they decide and how they just. Suggestion.
If it is more convenient to staff, I have no issue with 6 o'clock. But I'm
No,
flexible.
I do not want staff to be the determining factor on this. This is up to the planning commission. But I sure do appreciate that.
I can just shed some light that in Crestwell, the planning commission starts at 5:30. I personally would not have any objections to a 6 o'clock start time.
It's late for me at 7, so.
Would it make sense to have a motion to start at 6 for 6 months as a trial and see how it works for everyone involved and review it again, say in April?
I think that's excellent.
That makes good sense.
I make a motion that we try a 6-month, 6 o'clock start time, commencing in December, ending in April. It's 5 months. As a test to see how it works, and if it's working for people, we'll continue. If not, we'll go back to 7.
A second.
Moved in second that we go ahead and move the time of our meeting till 6 o'clock. Or at least temporarily till April 1 or the April meeting. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Very well. All right.
Was that a unanimous vote? I'm sorry, I wasn't able to see everyone's hand.
Yes. We now have a public hearing. Do I open it first or explain it first? All right, I have to open the public hearing.
So I'm sorry, Commissioner, that was wrong. First you introduce the matter and then you open it.
All right. So what we do have is a public hearing this evening and regarding a correction to our comprehensive plan and zoning maps, etc. 22, and the city of Coburg has initiated this process. So at this time, I'll open the public hearing and ask members of the planning commission if they've had any conflicts of interest, ex parte contacts, or whether there are any reason they believe they should not participate in the decision-making process this evening. Hearing none, I will ask the audience whether or not they wish to challenge any partiality of any commission. Hearing none. I'd like to explain to the audience that state regulations require us to inform them of the certain procedures. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by sufficient statements or evidence to enable the commission and other parties to respond to the issue precludes appeal of that issue to the Oregon Land Use Board of Appeals. Anyone in the audience may request that record be held open for 1 week. Also ask that the hearing be continued, although that is discretionary with the planning commission. The requester must demonstrate that merely leaving the record open a certain number of days will not cure any procedural problems. Also, planning commission decisions may be appealed to the city council within 14 days of the planning commission decision mailed out as a notice of decision. So, this time I'd like to request the staff report.
Thank you, Planning Commission. The request before you this evening is for 2 amendments to 2 different maps. And so, let me see here. First, for the presentation, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of both of those changes. Then I'll go into a little bit more detail about one of the proposed changes. And then I will share your options. Proposal is to amend the comprehensive plan map and zoning map to reflect 2 changes. The first proposed change is to amend the official zoning map and the comprehensive plan map to remove a strip of parks, recreation, and open space, also called PRO, zoning designation that was mistakenly left on 3 lots in the central business district. The second is to add the downtown Coburg overlay district that was adopted by council on September 27th, 2022 to the boundaries of the central business district. Findings for the downtown overlay district were Planning Commission recommended approval of those on July 20th, and City Council adopted those on September 27th. And so the details of that can be found in the related planning file of PA 0122, and I won't discuss them in a much more detail this evening. I will explain next 3 parcels that are next to City Hall. This is correcting an error that was placed on these maps and is not approving any type of development. The staff did a lot of research on because it has existed for a long time, and the owners of the property were concerned that it was creating barriers to development. In 1980, comprehensive plan map shows that that area was designated as parks, rec, and open space. Going further back, that land was zoned agricultural while it was in the county's jurisdiction. Staff believe that this was carried over from when the city of Coburg first adopted Lane County maps. In May of 1994, Ordinance A 131G, which is attachment C in your packets, was passed, which rezoned the lot from park and open space to residential lands. This lot was part of the new plat for the Coburg Estates that became Coburg Estates First Edition and Coburg Estates Second Edition. This is an image of that 1980 comprehensive plan map. And you can see the red line where this subject area is. This is it zoomed in just a little closer. So you can see how that strip was mistakenly left out when the subdivision was platted. So when comparing the latest zoning map with map 8, you can align the property lines with the street to the north to see how this happened. One possibility is that the lot was under different ownership and therefore the zoning was not changed as it was not part of the future subdivision plat. This was also not donated as parkland attached to the subdivision because the subdivision plan map shows that the parkland being dedicated for all phased subdivision were located in the area west Canterbury Slough, which is now part of the Booth Kelly Trail system in Coburg. Ordinance A 131G established that the city did not have the money or the will to develop parkland in this area, and therefore were converting the area to residential use, which was a great need. Property is zoned at the county as Central Business District and is not listed in the park master plan as current or future parkland. It was not part of the plan for the future. So this is the plat for the first edition of Coburg Estates. Does the mouse show up? Yes, okay, so this area where I'm running the mouse along here, for those of you who are familiar with Booth Kelly Trail, this is the parkland that was dedicated as part of that subdivision, the first edition. Here is the plat of the second edition. And here is the area in question. There is a 25-foot power and communication easement, but it is not labeled, as you can see in the first edition, where this says public park dedicated hereon. This area says nothing about a park dedication. This is the current Coburg Park and Open Space Master Plan map, which also does not show any intention of parkland in this area. This is a comparison of the current official zoning map next to the proposed zoning map with the changes, which are fairly simple. You can see that that green strip right here next to City Hall would be removed. And there's also a different dash pattern over the Central Business District where that downtown overlay will take place. Similarly, this is the current comp plan map along with the proposed comp plan map that removes that open space strip from these parcels. Planning Commission has a few options for action this evening. This is a type 4 decision, which means that Planning Commission will not make the final decision. They will recommend to council to approve with modifications, approve with conditions, deny the proposed change, or adopt an alternative. Staff recommends that Planning Commission make a recommendation of approval. If more time is needed, Planning Commission can also request to continue the hearing. That's all I have for my presentation. Thank you.
Can we ask a couple of questions of you now or after I close the hearing?
I believe you close it first.
Well, to get clarification to your staff report. Question I might have would be is on 3 lots in question that show the parklands. Did they show any restrictions on their deeds or title? Is that area to be recreation? They have any restrictions on it?
None that I'm aware of. I'm sorry, but I just want to clarify the records at the county show no mention of the parks or open space. They are solely designated as central business district.
And the city had zoned those at the time as central business district, those 3 lots. Were they zoned that way?
Good. They are just sort of pieces where of lots that are contiguous with 3 adjoining lots that are on Austin that have been developed. The best that I have understood in talking about this over the last couple of months is that they think it was probably more of a Scrivener's error, that the map just was drawn incorrectly to begin with, and that's why we have the discontinuity between what the county has and then what the city has, and it just was never picked up before.
Question, looking at the 1980 Coburg Comprehensive Plan diagram, and what little I know about town history, it would appear that this strip that was at one time Water Street. Is that correct?
It is coming off of the same area as Water Street. That is correct.
So after the mill closed down, Water Street no longer was a thoroughfare. And it probably got mixed into other land boundaries.
Water Street itself, or that I do not have a good answer for. I apologize, but I can look into it if you like.
Oh.
So if there are no further clarification, staff report, I'll close the public hearing at this time. And we can start our commission deliberation. Have any questions amongst yourselves or?
There's 2 changes, right? Because he's talking about the redesignation of those lots and then also downtown commercial overlay. Right. The objective then is to create one motion for both elements. Is that right?
That's correct.
I just want a clarification. I don't see any issue with either, but I'm open to anybody else's thoughts.
Commissioner Wood, got any input?
I recommend that we accept both changes as Megan designated and approve and send to council.
Need any further discussion? Therefore, I would like to entertain a motion.
I propose a motion to amend the comprehensive plan map and zoning map to reflect two changes. The first proposed change to amend the official zoning map and comprehensive plan map, remove a strip of parks, recreation, and open space zoning designation mistakenly left on 3 lots within the central business district. In addition, secondly, to add the downtown Coburg overlay district that was adopted by council on September 27th, 2022 to the boundaries of the central business district.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the requested amendment by the city of Coburg. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so therefore it's carried unanimously.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next on our agenda. Discussion about the temporary rentals. I asked this because bring this item up. When Weicker was proposing their subdivision some time ago, and I was out wandering the street, Pullman Street, or Skinner, I don't want to use the word accosted, but I was at a discussion with a homeowner about a residence next to them as being used as a vacation rental. And subsequent some pretty wild parties. So I asked Megan whether or not the city had any rules, regulations regarding temporary rentals in a residential zoned area. And she suggested that I bring it up with the planning commission and make the recommendation, if we agree as a group, to forward this on to city councils for them to direct staff to develop or look into some sort of rule ordinance regarding that, or whether or not we believe that's needed. It's a question. I don't know. I don't have any.
May I explain our current?
Sure, do it.
So short-term rentals are allowed within the city of Coburg. The owners of those properties are supposed to register with the city of Eugene to pay transient room tax. The city of Eugene administers the transient room tax for all of Lane County. This is currently a hot issue in many cities. And so staff have asked our legal to look at some potential ordinances. But this just hasn't quite risen as a priority. And so I encouraged Commissioner Marshall that if this is something that we would like to see action happen on sooner than later, that it come before council. But it is something that we have begun to look into.
So, open for discussion.
So is it concern about the wild parties or about adding the cap?
I think it's the use as far as possible parties and those kinds of things. And, it's a temporary usage, I think there has to, I was thinking there might be some sort of code or rule when I was talking to this landowner or residents. There isn't.
Different cities have had a few different issues. Parking is sometimes one of them. If people bring a lot of vehicles Also, without any formal ordinance or regulation, it's hard to enforce that they are paying that transient room tax. And so a lot of people just go under the radar. So there are a variety, different communities have a variety of different pros and cons that come with short-term rentals.
Does this concern about short-term rentals apply only to residential areas?
Good question. I don't know. I brought it up because of the red. But you're right. It could apply to any place, any zoning. for that matter. But anyway, that's,
I can see city, working with LCOG on, seeing what other locales have done. Specifically in residential areas first. Don't know if we need to go into other zoning categories at this time.
Commissioner Wood, you got any input?
I at this time I don't. I know that during events in Eugene, a lot of residents will depart and let their homes be stayed in by people they know or who are familiar with the events or things like that. But I don't know if the concern is not getting revenue. I don't know if that's within our scope, but it's I don't know. I just don't know. I have up till this time I've not thought of it as a problem. So I don't really have a strong opinion either way. I would have to do research.
And that sounds more like a noise ordinance. thing. As revenue goes, pretty confident that the city of Bend issued a certain number of permits. And it's capped. And that might be worth something exploring at least.
Many of the locales on at the coast also have a certain number per year that they do.
Mhm.
And then
I think there was a problem over at the beach. And that going on, and it was hurting the hotels and everything else. So.
Yeah.
The Covert doesn't have a hotel or a hotel, so
Yeah.
True, that's
any sort of like events that happen in this area, you know, to drive in, everybody's driving in and there's, then there comes the issue of parking. to Begin with for all the events. So.
we're trying to solve disruption to residential life through noise and parking issues.
I think that's the noise ordinance.
So-
and then parking.
Separate from this issue of permits, maybe, or weekly or daily rentals. I guess we ought to, at the same time, examine how can small cities or towns enforce noise disturbances? What resources are needed?
We already do, don't we? I mean, we have the police, and that's. I guess my thing is I feel like we can't use one isolated incident as a trigger for furious action on our part. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a huge issue to me. And I'm not saying that I'm not willing to address issues. I'm just saying that this seems like an issue that is addressed with existing laws and institutions.
Yes, we will not forward this on to city council, at least from the planning committee.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is city updates, the administration report.
I included the city administrator report with your packet. If anyone has questions about that, I will try my best to answer them. If not, I will defer to Anne and get you a response.
I do have one thing. Our next meeting is December, you've got it scheduled for December 21st. I'm just kind of curious. That's difficult for people to.
Thank you for bringing that up. I actually was going to as well because Planning Commission is going to see quite a bit of activity in the next couple months. We have received several land use applications. I do anticipate having a public hearing in December, and I'm wondering if this group plans on being able to attend on the 21st or if an alternative date would work better. The same thought when I looked at my calendar and thought that's just a few days before the holiday weekend.
From my perspective, I'm very flexible, so I can adapt for December.
You.
They feel it's going to be pretty important that we meet in December.
It is going to be important that Planning Commission meets
I
in
wonder if
December.
we could do, sort of throw it out there to everybody, and everybody has an opportunity to pick some dates that they're available. I forget this call.
Yes, we can send out a poll to see the different commissioners' availability. I can do that most certainly.
Yeah, that might work, and then you get, maybe we get some consensus on a certain date or week or whatever that everybody would be available, that we sure would have a quorum or participants. That works. Don't really care. It's not necessary for me necessarily on Wednesday. If we have to do it temporarily, I think going forward, obviously we want to be as consistent as we can be, but we're given the holidays and that kind of stuff that the one time we can change it. Different day of the week, for sure. And time. Sure. Okay. Just a matter of trying to get sure that we can get the city's business done.
Thank you for that suggestion. Please keep your eyes peeled. I will send an email tomorrow with a doodle poll.
That was the term I was trying to come up with. Questions regarding, I see where one of the things that we have approved is going through out there off of Roberts Road, the business thing.
Industrial Park.
Industrial park, how is that progressing in regards to?
They have not yet received a building permit. And so right now they are doing grading and they are installing utilities. The building permit for the structures is currently under review with Cottage Grove, who the city of Coburg contracts building services with.
And then on the other side of the freeway, any activity there other than the fact I see that the Umpqua tribe activity there? Has there been any input to the city on that, or?
We have not received any applications for any development on the east side of I-5.
All I have. Anybody else have any questions? Need info on? Right. With that, I'll adjourn this evening's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. And very quickly, I would just like to wish a very happy birthday to Commissioner William Wood.
I have to ask this. Did my wife call you?
I plead the fifth.
Oh, man. Thank you very much, though. Do you need me to stop by and sign something tomorrow?
So that would be great if you could come by and sign the minutes.
Okay, I'll do
I'll
that.
have them ready at the front desk for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.